Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it is time for that Sunday night live stream show. Hopefully, you're ready for another great show. I'm ready for another great show, and we are ready to give away free fishing trips. That's right, it's Sunday night, y'all. We give away free fishing trips every Sunday night during this live stream show. $1,500 in free trips to be exact. We give away a 5-hour half day for two, a 10-hour all day for two, a Hubbard's Marina swag pack, and a 39-hour for one lucky winner. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This happens every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Make sure to tell your friends, text your friends, send the link around, and make sure everyone you know is watching. That way you have more chances to win that free trip. In order to be eligible to win the free trip, all you have to do is watch the show live. Comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. Make sure to like it too. You have to like the live stream. So like the video, comment one time. You can watch on YouTube, you can watch on TikTok, you can watch on Instagram or another Facebook page. But you have to go to Hubbard's Marina's Facebook page, like the video, and comment one time, and then watch the show live. That's how you're entered for a chance to win. Then throughout the show, we'll randomly announce the winners. And you'll see your name pop up on the screen. I'll announce your name, and then you got 5 minutes or less to text us your home address to claim your free trip. So that's how it works. That's how you're eligible. That's how you claim it. And hopefully you're ready to win some free trips, talk fishing. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about what's going on, what's coming up. And then we're going to answer your questions live during the show. If you have a question you want answered live during the show, you do have to text us at the phone number on the screen. So text us if you want your question answered live during the show. Then, besides all that, we want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. This show is brought to you by our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. If you haven't stopped by to see them, you're missing out. They have a crazy selection. They have killer deals, great people. Definitely stop by and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Again, Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Petersburg. All right. With that, it is time to launch into the show. We always start the show off by showing you photos of what we're catching. Then we get into the weather. Then we get into some announcements. And then we get into your questions. So again, if you have a question that you want answered live during the show, again, text us your question to the phone number on the screen. If you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube or a Facebook page, we don't always see your comments during the show. So make sure you text us your question so we can get it answered live during the show. With that, let's pop on over and look at what photos we've got going on today, this afternoon, tonight during the show. We'll start inshore. Show you what we're catching inshore, then we'll work our way near shore and offshore. Our friend John caught a nice Jack Crevalle. Definitely the fish have been active around John's Pass. We're seeing quite a few fish being caught, and we saw Jack Crevalle even on our 5-hour half day this past week as well. We ran into a school of redfish on our 10-hour all-day trip. It's that time of year. These redfish are schooled up, super concentrated, and they move to our near-shore waters to do some spawning action. And occasionally, when we're out there fishing on a 5-hour or 10-hour, these fish will just show up and invade our area. We catch quite a few of them. Catch them, release them, of course. They're closed in federal waters, so even if they're legal size, we got to get rid of them. But most of the time, the ones we run into offshore are big breeders that would be over slot anyway. This one's a big breeder caught underneath the Johns Pass Bridge. Definitely some big redfish moving through the pass, and seeing some nice action out there for sure. A lot of fish being caught. We got a lot to talk about tonight for sure, and hopefully you're ready to go fishing with us this week, because fishing is going really well. Nice big old snook here from our buddy Brian. Beautiful, beautiful snook from the Back Bay waters. We're seeing quite a few snook, really active right now. Solid one here from our buddy John in John's Pass. Definitely some good one. John again with a nice snook. different John, but nice snook nonetheless from John's Pass. We're seeing quite a few being caught around the bridge area, as you can tell. A lot of trout, too, have been caught as of late, but the snook are really active. All that fresh water really kind of flushed the snook back to the pass a little bit. We've been seeing quite a bit of activity in the early morning hours and even through the day when that water's moving. Those snook have been biting well. Seen a lot of trout action too around the bridge lights and dock lights. It's a good time to get out there and do some catching. Whether it's on our boat or even around the docks and bridges, we're seeing quite a few fish. Now, that was what we're seeing inshore. Let's work our way near shore and offshore and show you what we're catching out there a little bit deeper. We're seeing some nice hogfish action really start to pick up. Some good hogfish on our 5-hour half days. The 10-hour all days have been catching a few hogfish, but we're having a little bit of a problem. We've been catching so many lane snapper on the 10-hour all day. It's been hard to get past the incredible lane snapper action to get our baits to the hogfish. So it's literally too good of fishing right now to get to the hogfish, which is kind of ironic. But as you can see, we're still catching a few hogfish on the 5-hour, on the 10-hour. We're seeing some nice ones being caught, and that bite should only get better and better and better as that water temperature continues to stay low for us. So some good hogfish action. We're seeing a ton of lane snapper. We're seeing a few mangrove snapper. We're seeing the occasional redfish. The mackerel are pretty thick again, and we should see some kingfish near shore any minute now. But some big, plentiful lane snapper are definitely the pinnacle of our near shore action right now. As you can see, some solid lanes. The occasional throwback red grouper too. Our 39-hour trip came in this morning. We don't have those photos for you tonight, but we'll have them for you next week. They did really well out there on the 39-hour. If you caught the live video this morning, you already saw the big pile of fish. They had solid amberjack action, big scamp grouper, some really nice mangroves, tons of yellowtail, tons of lane snapper. Plenty of fish for sure. So good fishing offshore as well. The 12-hour extreme got out there today with Captain Sea Bass, and they smoked them really well on the 12-hour extreme today too, with big scamp, nice mutton snapper, some big mangroves, some really good plentiful action on snapper, even some grouper we could take home with those nice scamp, and some big snapper like those muttons as well. The 39-hour even caught a few African pompano too, so really cool to see. The one problem we're having offshore is we're seeing too many gag grouper. They are really aggressive behind this storm, really active. The 39-hour caught and released plentiful gags. More than 65 gags were caught and released on that 39-hour trip. So pretty crazy gag grouper bite. But we're working hard to descend them, get them back in the water, and hopefully they're going to grow up and make more gag grouper babies and continue to help that population grow even more. So that's good to see that the gags are really doing well. And so are the red grouper too. We saw quite a few red grouper as well. But plenty of fish to catch and keep with the mangroves, the lanes, the yellowtails, the triggerfish, the big muttons we're seeing occasionally, nice amberjack, and even those scamp grouper too. So great fishing, great weather, and lighter loads. It's a good time to get out there on the water. Speaking of weather, let's pop on over to the Hubbard's Marina website page, hubbardsmarina.com. We're going to click fishing trips. We're going to scroll down to weather links. And on our weather links page, we're going to start with the 5 and 10-hour forecast area. You can tell it gets a little breezy midweek, but still out of the east, which means we'll still be able to fish all week long. Really, tomorrow looks like the best weather day with lighter seas and the wind just starting to pick up. It picks up a little bit more Tuesday and Wednesday, but the seas still stay manageable because it's an east wind. We're still going to be able to get out there and do plenty of fishing near shore, and the east wind won't bother us too badly. So really good opportunities Tuesday, Wednesday on the half day. Thursday, it calms down a little bit, so some good opportunity there. And then Friday looks really good again. Because it looks good Friday, We've added a 10-hour trip Friday too. So we have 10-hour trips Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday this week as well. So good opportunities to go fishing, plus the 39-hour trip over the weekend. It stays calm Friday and into Saturday. So going to be a little bumpy for this weekend's 39-hour, but not bumpy enough to make us cancel. So good opportunity to get out there and really crush the fish out there on our 39-hour trip as well. So exciting stuff with good fishing opportunities, great fish action, and some lighter loads as well. And to celebrate being back in business, to celebrate the fact that our area has started to recover well, and to try to entice more people to come out and try to make it more affordable for people to come out, we are going to extend our live show special yet another week. That's right. Another announcement tonight of 50% off trips Monday through Friday. So this week, Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st, so the whole work week, Monday through Friday, 50% off the Dolphin trip, the Sunset Cruise, the 3-hour shell key shelling, the 5-hour half day, and the 10-hour all day. So we've added a 10-hour all day this week as well. So you've got 3 10-hour trips to choose from. You've got tons of 5 hours, Dolphin trips, Sunset Cruises, and 3-hour shell key shelling trips too, all at 50% off. So hopefully you'll get a chance to join us this week, celebrate with us, and help us to continue to keep our Hubbard's Marina family working. We got a lot of staff members that really need to keep working. So without enough people around, we're not able to keep our people working. So we want to try to celebrate with you guys, offer you a discount, and help try to get the momentum going in John's Pass, because a lot of businesses have opened back up. Boardwalk Grill is open, Pirates Pub and Grub is open and back up. You've got Mad Beach Craft Brewing open back up, Hooters, Bubba Gumps. You got a bunch of shops up and down the boardwalk that are open back up. Kilwin's Ice Cream is open back up. The Tiki Bar is open back up. So even first floor businesses are starting to open back up as well. The code for 50% off this week is the same as last week. It's live show, all one word. So book online at hubbardsmarina.com. Hopefully for tomorrow's half day. Tomorrow and Friday look like the best weather days, but still, like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday look fine too, because it's an east wind and it's not going to make that that near shore water too bumpy for us. So go tomorrow on the half day, go Friday on the 5-hour half day or 10-hour all day, or the 10-hour Tuesday, Thursday, half days run every day. Plus, if you're in our supporters group, we've offered a special for supporters only for this Friday's 39-hour trip too. So if you're in our supporters group, make sure you check out the supporters page and take advantage of that supporters group only special for this Friday's 39-hour trip. So some supporters special. Plus, on top of that, we want to make sure we give a shout out to all our supporters out there who help fuel the show, who help make this possible. It's only $4.99 a month. You get some behind-the-scenes info. You get more up-to-date info. Plus, you get access to our private supporters group where we do a private after show every week as well. So think about becoming a supporter. It definitely helps us out and helps fuel our show and do more great stuff on social media and at Hubbard's Marina as well. So check it out. With that, we want to make sure we talked about the what we're catching now. We talked about the weather. We want to also make sure we give a shout out to our events coming up. We've got Fishing for Hope Food and Toy Drive coming up November 23rd. Again, that's Fishing for Hope, November 23rd. That's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. over there at North Rome Avenue in Tampa at the Fishing for Hope tent. Myself, Captain Dylan Hubbard, Mike Anderson, Bill Miller, Glenn Plaw, some other local celebrity type captains who are even more influential than I am will be there as well. So definitely come out and see us, get a chance to talk to us, hang out for a minute, and then also, of course, we're there to collect toys and we're there to collect food for that food drive. Josh is sharing the link in the chat now, and that Facebook event page. Make sure you click on that Facebook event page. Make sure you click going. Help us share that event out there, because we want to make sure we spread the word for Fishing for Hope, November 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., North Rome Avenue. All right. Let's see here. Remember, if you have a question, I'm seeing some questions pop up in the chat. We don't really get a chance to answer your questions live unless you put it in a text message to the phone number on the screen. So make sure you text us if you have questions to the phone number on the screen. And also, if you want a chance to win free trips, make sure you comment once, and make sure you also like the Facebook stream. So go to Hubbard's Marina on Facebook, like the live video, and make sure also that you comment at least one time. That's how you're entered for a chance to win the live or the free giveaways we're going to do later in the show. Also, events wise, we have a Lady Anglers trip coming up. It is a Lady Anglers group trip, so you can also hop on the boat yourself if you're a dude. It's not that it's a private trip. It's not ladies only, but there's going to be a big group of our lady anglers going Sunday, November 24th. Sunday, November 24th, 10-hour all day. A group of ladies is growing, and they're all going out together. So if you haven't checked it out yet, on our website, Josh is going to show you how to navigate there to our Lady Anglers of Hubbard's Marina page. It's under Info. Go to Marina Info and then click Lady Anglers of Hubbard's Marina. That's going to bring you to the Lady Anglers page, and they have a Facebook group dedicated to them that you can find the link here on the page. So make sure you check it out, and then you can, there's the link right there, Lady Anglers of Hubbard's Marina. So it's right in that paragraph. You can click on that link, and it's going to take you to their Facebook page, where it is ladies and lady anglers collecting together and planning trips. So it's a cool way to kind of stay involved together and get more ladies out fishing. So it's cool. Check it out. Lady Anglers of Hubbard's Marina, November 24th. If you're a lady and you're an angler and you want to go fishing with other lady anglers, join us for that 10-hour all day, November 24th. With that, I think that is all the announcements that we wanted to make sure we get to, other than the fact that, hey, we're open. John's Pass is open. We need your help spreading the word. There's a lot of people out there thinking that John's Pass is closed, that all the businesses are destroyed, and that's simply not true. We did a really good job with our videos, and apparently people assumed after that first video that we would just be closed for a year. So that's been a little bit challenging as of late. But we're overcoming that with your help. So spread the word, come out and see us, help support our Hubbard's Marina family. Also, speaking of supporting our Hubbard's Marina family, we had 14 employees, staff members, Hubbard's Marina family members that lost everything, right? They lost their house, they lost their car, they lost all their possessions. So super, super impact for 14 staff members. We've started a GoFundMe. A lot of you have already donated. We appreciate it. If you have it in your heart to donate again, or if you want to donate for the first time by chance, you can go to the Hubbard's Marina website page. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, right on the top of the page, there's a recent hurricane updates, resources, and more. And there's a click here for the Hubbard's Marina Crew GoFundMe. You can see we've raised quite a bit of money, $32,000, which is awesome. We're almost at our goal. We've already distributed a lot of this, all of this, to the crew that were affected, and we'd like to continue to raise some funds for them as well. So if you have in your heart, check that out. Also, the other button on the hurricane resources, it says click here for more. There is a hurricane relief efforts page. And then, Josh, is this also where all the businesses that are open? Oh, it's this one. This link up here at the top, it's open beach businesses. There's also this link. We're updating this every week at the start of the week. And these are all businesses along the beach that have reopened behind Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. So if you're looking for somewhere to go on the beach, somewhere to eat, somewhere to drink, if you want to support a local business that's struggling to get back on their feet behind the storm, this website page is a great resource that you can check out and look at all the different places and look at that huge list. There's also a bunch of stuff that's not on the list. We're continuing to try to work to update that weekly. But every day, more businesses, more hotels, more bars, more restaurants, more ice cream stores, more things to do are opening along our beaches. So definitely get out there, check it out, and take advantage for sure, because we need the help. We need the support. We need people like you out on the beaches enjoying 50% off this week at Hubbard's Marina, and maybe an ice cream cone at Kilwins or a meal at Friendly Fisherman afterwards. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and give away our first free trip of the night. Remember, you have to like the live stream video. You have to like the video. You have to comment one time. That's how you're eligible for a chance to win. Then you have to watch live. If you're picked as a lucky winner, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and let's do the 5-hour half day for 2 people, 1 lucky winner, two guests, free on a 5-hour half day. Lucky winner is Renee Vine Marks. Congratulations, Renee Marks. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number on the screen in order to claim your free trip, Renee. With that, we've got Capt. Mike Anderson on the line. Like I mentioned before when we were talking about Fishing for Hope, Capt. Mike himself will be there with me. That's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. November 23rd. So hopefully we'll see you there, and you'll get to see Mike, myself, Bill Miller, and many others as well as we work hard to try to collect a bunch of food and toys for that special event. What's going on, Capt. Mike? How are you, buddy?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Another day in paradise, my friend. We're back open.
Sir.
We've got a week under our belt. Our fishing was going really well, and things are looking up. Things are starting to get back to a little sense of normalcy, and we're pumped about it, man.
I get it. I'm happy to hear people are fishing. We had 58 boats run on Friday for University of Florida Rinker School of Construction charity tournament I've been doing for years, and it felt good just to get that one in,
Yeah.
Load boats up and let the guys get to work and catch a bunch of fish and, like you said, at least trying to feel somewhat normal here.
Yeah, get back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah. Do the best you can anyway.
So what was up with the radio show this morning, man? Did the phones not work? I tried calling like 3 times, couldn't get through.
We had a lot of calls. I don't know. Maybe that was it. I don't know. The phones were good though. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm
not sure what happened.
We were busy this morning with the 39-hour coming in and the 10-hour going out, so I didn't get to call till like 8:30. So maybe that's all it was. Board was already full.
I figured, Fox and all that stuff. You're just kind of big time, so maybe you were just, big time us today. What do you think, Josh? Was he big time us?
Josh's mic is off. Ha!
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
We got to work on that with Josh.
Yeah.
No, but it was actually a pretty good show. I was, I don't know how much of it you caught, but I was in a mood that Dylan would have appreciated, I think, because I was going off on some. This morning, first thing I see this morning on my social media is some jackwagon on there telling everyone how bad voting yes on 2 is. Why we have to vote no, because it will, reverse the net ban. It's going to allow people to hunt your land at will. I mean, it was unbelievable, Dylan.
That's hilarious.
I blasted the dude on the comments and then obviously blasted him on the show today for his misinformation. I'm sure some loser jackwagon bunny hugger somewhere decided to pay this guy to, spew a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, man,
So
it's crazy. It's like Car and Driver magazine not liking cars. I just
right,
I really don't get the simple act of taking a preventative measure to install a lock on the front door of fishing and hunting in the state of Florida, moving it from a statutorily protected privilege to a constitutional right. That's all this does. It changes
well,
everything we do right now. Nothing changes. No, FWC doesn't lose any power. You don't all of a sudden get to start fishing with nets and crazy other crap. You literally have the same ability right now as you do November 6th when this passes. All it does is changes it from a statutorily protected privilege to a constitutional right. And it's amazing to me that we have a preventative measure. We've spent so much time, energy, and money to try to do this preventative measure to, like I said, install that lock on the front door of fishing and hunting in our state. And you have so many fishermen and hunters opposed to it. Whereas
yeah.
if we were talking about an amendment to make hunting and fishing illegal, people would be all up in arms and we'd all be singing Kumbaya and voting no on that. But of course, just taking a preventative step and actually using the political machine to our advantage for once, people are just freaking out. It's really mind numbing. At this point, I've become pretty jaded.
Well, it's. I mean, it's pretty much the way things are.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same thing going on with the presidential election, all the misinformation that's flying around. You know, she does this, he does that, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. It's just it's amateur hour. It's unethical. It's classless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just where I'm. You know how I am. I
Yeah.
just I can't put up with that kind of nonsense. So again, like I said, I let that guy have it this morning, and we talked about it on the air, and hopefully people will understand and get good information on this and vote the right way,
Yeah.
so we can kind of put this to bed and move on. Again, it's a really simple deal. It's not as intricate, and part of the problem, I understand it. So many of these things get tacked on with other BS
Yeah.
that people don't see or don't know about. I mean, it's really our politicians' fault
Yeah.
for letting the system get this cloudy and this untrustworthy. So I understand it, but please, please, please do your homework. Understand that it's just a simple deal.
It's a
It's not
preventative
technical.
measure. Like someone in the comments is asking why we need it. The reason we need it is the same reason you have a lock on the front door of your house, right? You don't
Right. Hmm.
you don't leave your house unlocked when you leave the house. When you go to bed at night, you lock your front door. Why? Because it's a preventative measure. You don't wait for an intruder to come rob you or come into your house at night and kill you while you sleep. You put locks on your front door as a preventative measure. All this does is put a lock on the front door of hunting and fishing, and it acts as a preventative measure. And a big neon sign at the border of Florida to all those bunny huggers, as Capt Mike likes to call them, and anybody who is anti-hunting and fishing, hey, don't bother spending your money in the state of Florida because we care about our rights to hunt and fish. We care about it so much we've made it a constitutional right, a statutorily protected privilege like it is now. Hunting and fishing is only statutorily privileged. That can change. Legislation can change at a whim. Governors can change at a whim. Things can happen. Crazy things like let's talk about making a bunch of tennis courts in a state park all of a sudden. Or an old
Right.
lady in Tampa sees a pelican hanging by some fishing line, and all of a sudden they want to close Skyway Fishing Pier, the #1 recreational fishing pier in the entire southeast of the United States of America. Hugely popular fishing pier. They were going to just straight up close it with just socially driven opinions and feelings. That is a scary notion. And it's very,
Yeah.
very, I've seen it. I sit in these state meetings and I sit in these federal meetings. And anybody out there who is wondering why we need this, I'm telling you, if you go to an FWC meeting once, you will see the reason you need this, because there is so many people there that are not involved in hunting and fishing. They're not buying licenses. They're not out there on the water or in the woods, and they simply are there to take your access or your statutorily protected privilege away. So all this does is install a big lock on the front door of hunting and fishing and let them know, hey, it's a constitutional right in the state, so it's going to take a lot to change it. Because right now it takes a 60% vote plus one to make an amendment to our state constitution. So in order to be able to undo this, they would have to go through that same headache. And it would be a lot harder to take away our hunting and fishing rights if we get this passed. And hopefully we will.
Love it.
Good
Preach
point.
it. Preach it. Yeah, we just need to get it out there. Like I said, it's frustrating, but we got to do our due diligence and make sure this one passes.
For sure. Yeah, one can hope and dream, man. It's definitely going to be an interesting state election for sure. So,
yeah, no doubt.
We'll see.
No doubt.
So how's the fishing, man?
I hear you. You know what? Based on everything I saw on Friday, and talking with Captain Scott Moore today, he ran 3 trips last week. You know, they caught a 28 and a 29-inch trout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wow. You say like we catch those all the time.
Sorry, I was
it's
reading
been a
something.
long.
I apologize. That's a big trout. 20,
dude, it's been a long time since I heard of anyone catching a 28 and a 29 here in and around Tampa Bay. Well, one on back-to-back trips.
Oh, gotcha.
Not in the same place, but both fish came right out of the mullet. Scott said he was fishing schools of big mullet, literally in the mullet, and caught those 2 trout on back-to-back trips.
That's amazing.
So, you know, you hear a lot of us talking about it, fish the mullet, find the mullet, find the fish. It's a real simple equation, and that's really part of the game. Scott says, you know, Captain Scott Moore saying he hasn't seen this many mullet around in a long time. That's telling you something. That guy's been doing this for like 45 years.
Yeah.
You know, the very first inshore charter captain out of Anna Maria, the Sarasota area, Bradenton down there, the very first to do it. And he's talking really highly of the shape of the fishery. The red fishing as good as we've seen it in many, many years. He's not really keen on how many snook we're seeing, which neither am I. I think those numbers are a little down. We're still catching snook, but it's not what it should be. But the trout fishing, the red fishing, both are really, really, really good. So, you know, mackerel showing up. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. This week should be spectacular as we head towards, you know, that new moon. New moon, October, 2 really, really good things to have working in your favor.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely 2 really good things to have in your favor. And
for sure,
to hear the fishing is going so well is nuts. Great to hear for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Super exciting. Unfortunately, I got to get my wisdom teeth out this week, so going to do that, and hopefully I'll be back on the water on Friday and have some good stuff to talk about when we hit the air on Saturday and Sunday.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well,
That's
I hope the wisdom teeth situation goes smoothly for you.
Me too. I've heard a lot of stories both ways. Some people tell me, "Yeah, you're hating it. It's not going to be good," and then I've had several people tell me, "Yeah, you'll be okay." So we'll see. They're not impacted or anything crazy. Just need to get them out of my head. So we'll go get that done on Wednesday and hopefully be back on the water Friday morning.
Well, good luck, my friend. Hope it goes smooth.
I do too, my friend. All good. I appreciate the time. You and Josh have a great night. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. And Travis will join us Saturday, so it's going to be me, you, and Travis if you're not laid up from your wisdom teeth.
Well, and I'm glad we have him in there just in case I am, but I would really enjoy some time, spend a little time with Travis. You know, hats off to that guy, man. He does so much groundwork. You know, he's like Captain Bobby Woodard. They put in so much time and effort for what we have as far as a fishery and an estuary. I really love those guys and super amount of respect for them, putting all the time and energy they do into protecting our fisheries.
Yeah, man. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it, brother.
Yeah, me too. Have a great week. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. See you, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, guys. See you.
Awesome to hear, and good to have Travis in studio with us. He has definitely been on the ground floor. He actually helped write the language for Amendment 2 in our state. We've been working together for over 2 years on getting this Yes on 2 thing passed, so hoping and praying it passes. It's kind of funny, I saw in the comments there about Florida Sportsman. Florida Sportsman does support overall nothing. right? Florida Sportsman magazine is made up of a bunch of writers and a bunch of editors, and there's not one overarching opinion from Florida Sportsman. I saw that article by Blair Wickstrom about voting no on 2, and it was pretty infuriating because it was totally baseless, in my opinion. But we're all entitled to our own opinions, right? If you don't agree, that's fine. You don't have to agree. But it was totally baseless, and the premise was poor. And I called Jeff Weekly, who's actually the editor-in-chief, and I actually pooled all our support for Florida Sportsman because I didn't appreciate the fact that one of their editors, Blair Wickstrom, was basically continuing to proliferate a false narrative that I've already talked to and interviewed with Florida Sportsman about. So it's pretty frustrating, but definitely not the opinion of Florida Sportsman. It was one op-ed by one person at Florida Sportsman. So don't get confused by that. Florida Sportsman, Jeff Weekly, wrote an article in the same magazine. So if you're reading the same magazine, you flip over to Jeff Weekly's article, he writes about how he supports voting yes on 2. So it's kind of comical. Florida Sportsman is one magazine has 2 different opinions in it, so you can't say it totally supports anything one way or the other. It's definitely been pretty comical, to say the least. All right. Now, we did see a question about red tide, and someone asked, are fish safe to eat during red tide? Red tide is one of those things, it's naturally occurring. It's been around since the dawn of time. Spanish explorers, like we're talking Christopher Columbus era stuff, have scrolls. There's actually scientific data, and there's actually scientific record of Spanish explorers writing in their journals how the Gulf of Mexico was red with death. So red tide has been around so long that the Spanish explorers found it back in the day, right? So we've seen it. My grandfather saw it. My great-grandfather saw it. My father saw it. Now I deal with it as well. And it's definitely not something new. It's not something that affects the fin fish. So this right here on the FWC website, myfwc.com, research red tide brings you to this page. There's red tide facts, or frequently asked questions. And this one is it okay to eat local fin fish during red tide? Yes, it is safe to eat local fin fish as they are filleted before eaten. Toxins may accumulate in the guts of fish, but these are disposed of when the fish are filleted. It's never a good idea to eat dead or distressed animals. It's kind of upsetting they have to put that in here, but yes, you shouldn't eat dead animals or distressed or dying animals. But if you drop to bottom, you catch a fish, it fights on the way up, it's perfectly healthy to eat. Even if you see signs of red tide around, even if there's dead fish around, if you're dropping to bottom and catching fish, bringing them up, and they're fighting, you can eat those fish. So we fish around red tide often. We have for many, many generations at Hubbard's Marina. We've been around for 100 years almost, and red tide is something that we've dealt with throughout our history, and it does not affect our fishing. We still catch plenty of fish. We actually tend to catch more fish because a lot of times if there's red tide in an area, it will displace some species. Some species are smart enough and quick enough and actually generally know it well that they can swim away from it, right? So a lot of times if you have red tide in an area, it'll force fish outside or inside of that area, and we can concentrate our fishing effort where those fish are more concentrated and they bite better. So it's pretty exciting. And on top of that, fishing is going really well. We do have red tide in the area, but you will not notice it on the beach, in the bay, on shore. There's no red tide samples that are testing positive anywhere along the coast, in the bay, in the intercoastal, in Johns Pass. No red tide around at all. Right now, it's all off the coast. So we do see it occasionally while offshore, but like I said, if we fish inside of it, if we fish outside of it, as long as we're dropping to bottom and catching fish, plenty safe to eat, doesn't affect us at all. And we haven't really had an experience where we get out there and people have the itchy throat or the bothersome breathing. It hasn't been that concentrated, thankfully. And hopefully it continues to be that type situation, right? The east wind has definitely helped keep it off the coast, and it seems like it's definitely going to continue to be that way with this east wind pattern. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Keeping our fingers crossed on the red tide front. But we're catching pinfish. We're still bringing pinfish to the dock. We're taking pinfish offshore. We had a 39-hour trip with 60 some odd dozen pinfish. They all made it offshore through the red tide. And red tide doesn't affect shrimp. So our bait shrimp, even if we get really bad red tide, the shrimp actually get bigger because they have more food in the water. So generally our bait shrimp get bigger and actually do better during the red tide as well. So the only thing the red tide will affect for our fishing trips is if it gets bad and it gets to the point where we can't get pinfish, then that's a little frustrating, right? We don't have the live pinfish. But amberjack's about to end, so we don't have gag grouper season anymore, unfortunately. So really, there won't be much reason to get pinfish anyway, right? So we'll be taking shrimp offshore for the hogfish, and then on our long-range trips, fishing deadbait and catching plenty of mangrove snapper, lane snapper, yellowtails, big triggerfish, scamp grouper, and all that good stuff. So still good situation right now, but if it gets bad, it doesn't affect our ability to catch plenty of fish and have a good time, thankfully. So we give away our 5-hour half day already. Let's go ahead and give away our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. That Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Lucky winner of the swag pack is Jeanette Vandergrift. Congratulations, Jeanette. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your home address and t-shirt size so we can send you out that Hubbard's Marina swag pack. All right. How did you catch the African pompano on our 39-hour rig, or on the 39-hour trip? On a fish finder rig on the bottom, do you use a big crab or live bait? Are they on high relief shipwrecks or on hard bottom? Generally, we catch African pompano on big relief, whether it's a wreck, whether it's a spring, whether it's a really big peak. Generally, African pompano are going to be mixed in where we find amberjack, where we find those species. They are considered a pelagic, a coastal. No, they're not considered a coastal migratory pelagic. They're not a fin fish. They're not a reef fish. They're not in the reef fish FMP, but they're not in the coastal migratory pelagic category either. They're kind of in their own category over here on the side, but they're generally going to move around a lot. We generally see them at big structures up in the water column, so we catch them jigging a lot. I often, if I see someone catch an African pompano, the way to really target them is to take a mangrove snapper bait, double snell rig, cut thread fin, drop it all the way to the bottom till you hit bottom, and reel it up like 5, 6, 7 cranks. Once you're up off the bottom in the water column, that's generally where you're going to end up getting hit because they're moving around in a pretty big school, 10, 15, 30 feet off the bottom, especially if it's a pretty big structure like a wreck, boat sitting down there on the bottom. They're going to be sitting on top of that boat, swimming around up in the water column. So generally, fish finder rig, dead bait, drop to bottom, crank it up. That's how I've had the most success with them. But you can also jig. If you got a vertical jig or a slow pitch jig, that works really well. Next question, what are the dates for amberjack? Amberjack are open this year. They were open May, September, and October. So amberjack are open for 3 more days. Let's see here. What other questions? Shout out to the friendly fisherman who deep fried some fresh fish on the Friday 10-hour. Yes, the friendly fisherman is back open, and you can go ahead and enjoy some fresh caught fish over at the friendly fisherman. It is a great way to enjoy the end of your fishing trip, or you can just stop on down if you don't have time. If you're just too darn busy to go fishing, you can stop down and get some fresh seafood, of course, at the friendly fisherman as well. So great place to eat for sure, and excited to have it back open. And the bar downstairs got destroyed at the friendly fisherman, but they're rebuilding it, and we're actually using the wood from our original dock that got destroyed. So Hubbard's Marina main dock got destroyed. We took all that wood and we cut it up, and we're actually using it to build the new Friendly Fisherman bar. And they're going to do a cool epoxy coating on the top of it. It's going to look really cool. So you'll have to stop into the Friendly Fisherman bar. It should be open, I would imagine, probably by the end of this upcoming week, hopefully by the weekend. It's looking really good in there. Definitely much nicer. Cheyenne asks, can you use the discount code for 50% off on future trips? No, unfortunately, the discount code, the 50% off, is this week only. We did this last week to try to get some momentum and try to get people into Johns Pass and try to spread the word that Hubbard's Marina is open. Unfortunately, it worked pretty good, but we didn't keep that momentum, and we slowed way down this weekend. And this week coming up, we only have like 10, 15 people booked on some of these trips. So I want to make sure our staff can keep working. I want to make sure we can keep our people in jobs, and Hubbard's Marina needs some momentum to keep going. So whether it's the business, the staff members, the captains, the crew, we all are desperately trying to keep working. So please make sure you use that coupon code LIVESHOW, all one word. Book online now at hubbardsmarina.com. It works. I've tested it multiple times today. So you have to book this week, Monday, October 28th through November 1st on any trip, whether it's a dolphin tour or 10-hour. And if you pick an adult trip fare, you can type in the promo code LIVESHOW and it will work. But if you don't pick an adult trip fare, if you try to pick a child or a senior, then it won't work. So it has to be an adult trip fare, all one word, LIVESHOW. All right. Can you tell me the difference? Fin fish, non-pelagic, and pelagic. A fin fish is a reef fish, snapper, grouper, amberjack. A pelagic fish is something like a kingfish, tuna, wahoo. Pelagic fish are not bottom benthic is the actual word, but they're not bottom oriented, right? Like a grouper is going to go down on a rock and he's going to hang out by that rock. A snapper might hang out by the rock. He might swim around a little bit, but he's going to be hanging around structure on the bottom. He's not going to swim miles a day. He's going to hang out in a general area. A pelagic fish, a kingfish, a wahoo, a tuna, they're going to swim miles. They don't stay around a specific rock. They're always moving, and they're more concerned where the bait is and where the current is and where the water temperatures are. They're not really concerned with necessarily anything else. They might hang around structure if the bait's around structure, but that's typically their main concern. So it's just different categories of fish, pelagic or fin fish or reef fish or bottom fish, they're called as well. So that's the difference. All right, next question. What do we got?
It looks like we're getting some questions about where to enter the promo code.
Oh, so we want to show somebody? All right. I can show you guys how to enter the promo code. So not only are we going to give you a discount code, but we're going to show you how to use it. We're full service here at Hubbard's Marina. So go to hubbardsmarina.com, hit the book now button, and you got to choose a trip somewhere between Monday the 28th and November 1st. We're going to book Monday the 28th because it's a super light half-day trip tomorrow, and it's beautiful weather. So I'm going to go ahead and book the 8 a.m. half-day trip tomorrow. If you pick a senior, your senior rate does nothing. It doesn't give you the chance to do it. So I'm going to pick an adult rate. When I pick an adult rate, look at that. It pops up. Are you a Regulars Club member? No, I'm not a Regulars Club member. Add a promo or discount code. That seems like an interesting thing. I'm going to click add a promo or discount code, and I'm going to type in live show, all one word. And look what happens. It gives you half price. It's beautiful. And now I can go through and end up booking. I'm going to take off the senior so it doesn't show it. So look at that. $48 gets you out on that 5-hour half-day trip tomorrow. So $48. That includes taxes and everything. You're going fishing tomorrow. $48. Coupon code live show. That's how it works. Real simple. Got to pick adult, then you hit promo code, then you type in live show, all one word. All right. Next question. What do you prefer, 12-hour or 39-hour? That's a good question. I prefer whatever I have time for. The 12-hour extreme is great because it fishes the same area as a 39-hour. You get that 39-hour style fishing, but you're still able to make it back for dinner that night. With 2 young children, a business, and everything that's on my plate, the 12-hour extreme is generally more common to fit into my schedule than a 39-hour trip, because a 39-hour trip, that's 39 hours that I'm offshore and away from work, my children, my family, my wife, and all my other obligations that I have. So for me, a 12-hour extreme is nice because it fits into my schedule nice. I'm able to make it home, and I'm able to make it to work the next day, right? But a 39-hour is really nice because what happens is the 39-hour gives you a longer period of fishing time. So like the 12-hour extreme can kind of be a little bit frustrating because we just don't have a lot of time, right? We leave at 5 a.m. We get out there about 7:30 in the morning, 7:30. We start fishing, and then we're fishing from 7:30 in the morning till about 2:30ish, and then we got to run all the way home. So you don't have a lot of fishing time. You only have about maybe 7-8 hours of fishing time, and because of that, you don't have a lot of flexibility. If the fish aren't biting well, you get out to an area, there's heavy current, or you get out in the area, the fish aren't cooperating, or whatever it might be. You don't have a lot of flexibility. A 39-hour trip, you start fishing midnight, 1, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you fish until 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock the next night. You have about 20 hours of fishing time. You get a night bite. You get a sunrise bite. You get a whole daytime bite. You get a sundown bite in a lot of times as well. So you have multiple periods. If the tide isn't right, if the current's running strong, if the fish aren't cooperating, we can move. We can move really far because we got a lot of time. So we can really adjust areas. We can wait out the tide. We can wait out the currents. So the 39-hour is nice for that reason. And then also the 39-hour is on a very large, very stable, very wide boat that really gives you a nice, big, stable platform that's not as weather sensitive. So I always tell people, if you're in Ohio right now watching this show, it's tough to plan a 12-hour extreme because you got to fly down, and really, to be honest, there's a 50-50 shot that trip's going to go, because weather, if it's 3 foot or more, we have to cancel because we can't do a 12-hour extreme trip. That boat's got to travel 40 miles an hour. And if it's 3 foot, you can't travel 40 miles an hour in a 44-foot boat. You'll beat the heck out of the boat and beat the heck out of the guests, and it's just not financially efficient. And it's not a good quality product. It's not fun. The boat doesn't go fast enough. It's just we can't provide the quality product we want. So it's got to be really nice weather for a 12-hour extreme to go. Whereas a 39-hour trip, it could be 4 foot, and that's still pretty comfortable. It could be 6 foot, and we don't have to cancel. It's just going to be bumpy. Whereas the 12-hour extreme's got no shot. So the 39-hour trip, when you book that, there's a 89% chance, 90% chance that trip's going to go. It's rare that we have to cancel 39 hours unless we have a hurricane or a really strong cold front, or some act of God mechanical issue that pops out of nowhere, which does happen. It is part of offshore fishing, unfortunately. We try to prevent it to the best of our ability, but sometimes it does happen. So outside of a act of God, unforeseen mechanical issue, it's rare we cancel 39 hours. Whereas, like I said, with the 12-hour extreme, boat gets canceled quite a bit. So that's the drawback of the 12-hour extreme. That's the pros and the cons of the 12-hour extreme versus the 39-hour trip, in my opinion. I think I covered all of them. The 39-hour trip has an air-conditioned cabin, has a full galley, you got hot food, you got cold drinks, you got coffee. That is pretty comfortable. So you got some amenities there on the 39-hour. Whereas the 12-hour extreme, you're in the sun, there's no AC, there's no cover. It's an extreme trip because you're out in the elements. And in the summertime, in the heat of the summer during red snapper season, it's pretty extreme. you got to drink some water a couple days ahead of time and really get hydrated and stay hydrated. So it is a little bit more challenging, to say the least. All right, let's see. Dan said, can the promo code be used on the Friday all-nighter if there is one? So the promo code 50% off is good for the 5-hour half day, 10-hour all day, sunset cruise, dolphin cruise, and 3-hour shell key shelling. Our specialty trips, our 12-hour night trip, our 12-hour extreme trip, our 39-hour trips are never discounted unless you're a Regulars Club member. And also, I mentioned earlier something about a Supporters Club only discount special that we're running this week, and that may or may not apply to something I just mentioned. So if you're in the Supporters Club, make sure you check out the Supporters Club page. We announced it today. If you're not a Supporters Club, it's pretty awesome to get involved in there. Behind the scenes info, a little bit more connectivity. You get the supporters after show, and you also get the ability to get sometimes some special offers. When does Red Grouper season open again? There is no Red Grouper season. Red Grouper is open at the beginning of every fishing year. The fishing year for Red Grouper starts January 1st, and there is no season. So the fishing year opens January 1st, Red Grouper opens January 1st, and they stay open until the season is projected to, or the quota is projected to be met. This year, the quota was projected to be met June 30th, so Red Grouper closed June 30th. There is no season for Red Grouper, so that's a little confusing. So the terminology there is a little different, but to answer your question, Red Grouper will open January 1st, but in reality, they're not opening, just the fishing year started up again, and they should be open until the quota is projected to be met, which I would foresee probably pretty similar to this year, around the end of June. The regulars, or someone asked, what's the benefit of the Supporters Club? It's $4.99 a month, so it's not even $5 for a whole month of membership, and it gets you access to the private supporters group, gets you access to the private supporters group after show that we do every Sunday night. You get behind the scenes info, more connectivity, a little bit more communication, and occasionally we do some specials. This year we gave away a 12-hour fishing trip free. We've given away a lot of supporters discounts as well. So $5 a month, less than $5 a month. It's worth it. Check it out. How fast are you pulling number one planers with spoons trolling on the way out for mackerel? We troll on our 5-hour half day, 39-hour, 44 hours, sometimes on the 10 hours. But we're generally traveling about 7 to 9 knots with that number one planer, about 15 to 18 foot of 40 to 60 pound test, and about a 6-inch drone spoon for the mackerel. And maybe kingfish soon too. Definitely some good opportunities there for sure. I haven't been on your trip. What equipment do I need to bring? That's a great question. We do rent rods and reels on all of our trips, so if you're coming out with us, you can always choose to rent a rod and reel, or you can bring your own. And what I always suggest to people is checking out our website. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, and right on our website at the home page, or really any page, hit Fish and Trips, and then hit Trips. And then under the trips, you have all the trips listed. So let's pretend we're thinking about doing a 10-hour all day. So I'm going to click 10-hour all day. And on this page, it talks about the rod rentals. It talks about what you can catch. It talks about how deep we fish. Gives you some notes. It even shows you a little video of what to expect. Gives you recommended tackle. So you can dive into this and figure out what tackle works. It'll give you what fish you expect to catch, bait options. It gives you all the bait basic tips and tricks, food and drink options. It gives you all that information. So as far as what tackle to use, I would look at recommended tackle, and it's going to dive really deep into what rods, what reels, what size hooks, and every single one of our website pages is like this. So I can help you out. Hit the wrong button there. Basically, the question was, if I haven't been on your trip, what equipment do I need? I can't really answer that until I know what trip you're interested in, right? Are you planning a 5-hour or are you planning a 39-hour? Because the answer would be very different. So you can go on our website and look at the page you're interested in, or you could delineate your question a little bit further, and I can help you more. Another question is, do we sell used rods? We do not sell used tackle. We tried that and did not work very well. And we just don't have a lot of room at Hubbard's Marina in our shop, our tackle shop. So we just have new fishing tackle. Who's the captain for Friday's 10-hour trip? I just added that trip to our schedule about 3 hours ago, I think. I don't know. I posted it in the Supporters Club when I added it, so they would know exactly when. But it wasn't that long ago. And the Supporters Club post is when I posted it to the supporters is when I told our captains and crew about it. So I'm sure they're trying to decide who's working it now. But Captain Seabass and Captain Dylan Kilgore have been running a lot of 10 hours. Plus, Captain Joe has run one. Captain James is running a couple. So we have a whole team of guys that are kind of switching on and off the 10-hour, flying up 2, and really staying versatile and working really hard. So it's pretty cool to see. All right, let's do our 10-hour all-day trip giveaway. 10-hour all-day trip giveaway. And we'll answer a couple more questions, and we'll wrap this show up. And then we'll move into our supporters after show. So 10-hour all-day trip for one lucky winner is Tim McCardle. Congratulations, Tim. 10-hour all-day trip for one lucky winner. 2 guests. You got 5 minutes or less to claim your free trip by texting us your full home address to the phone number on the screen. All right. Fishing for flag yellowtail or using double snell with dead bait. Me personally, flag yellowtail is going to be a 39-hour, maybe 12-hour extreme. And I'm going to be targeting mangrove snapper 99% of the time. And I'm going to be fishing that double snell rig with a cut thread fin. And you often run into really big lane snapper. Yellowtail snapper that way. If you want to target yellowtail, you see people catching yellowtail, you can even use like a strip of squid about 2 inches long. And I'm going to cut it so it's about maybe a 1/4 inch wide and maybe only like a 1/4 inch or less thick. So that way I've got a nice rectangular piece of squid that's going to kind of flop around in the current, but not too long because they have a small mouth. So about 2 inches long, about a 1/4 inch wide, 1/4 inch or less thick. Nice little strip of squid. And you can even, if you've got a double snell rig, you put one on one hook and one on the next. Hook them at the very bitter end, so you're just hooking one side of that piece of squid. And get that fluttering down in there in the bottom. But I don't like doing that personally because you drop squid to bottom, you're going to catch porgies, you're going to catch vermilions, and you've got no shot at that mangrove. So I'm going to drop a cut thread fin down, and I'm going to potentially catch a really big, nice yellowtail, or I'm going to catch that mangrove snapper. Keep catching that mangrove snapper, I should say. So either way, but fish finder rig, double snell is going to be the way to go for sure. Let's see here. Someone said, I haven't seen my tickets yet for the 5-hour for 2 I won September 29th. We got hit by a hurricane and then got hit by another hurricane. So our office was closed from basically September 29th-ish until like mid-October. So we've only been open for about 10 days, 9 days. So we are behind. So if you won a trip September 29th, anytime in October, it does not surprise me if you haven't received your certificate yet. A, because we haven't been open until just the last 9 days. B, our mailbox was destroyed. C, the mail people just started to show back up with any sense of consistency. So most likely it will be out in the mail very soon. So I apologize in any delays if you're waiting for free trips. We're going to get those in the mail for sure. It's not that you're not going to get it. It's just unfortunately a little delayed. And obviously your case, it's very delayed, a month delayed. So we apologize for that. But seemingly historical times we're going through for sure. So apologize. All right, next question. But if you're waiting for a certificate to go fishing with us this week, just call me, because we can just apply it and avoid mailing you something. So if you're like frustrated because you want to go right now, just call me and we'll apply it. You don't have to wait for the certificate. But if you're concerned because you want to make sure you're getting the certificate, we're definitely getting it to you for sure. Are you running any red snapper trips? No. Red snapper's closed. Red snapper opened June 1st and closed August 27th. Some people are a little confused over red snapper. These weekend red snapper dates are not for federally permitted for-hire boats. You have to have your own boat, private boats. So, the private recreational season. Do you know anything about the proposal for the bottom fishing ban on the East Coast? I know everything about it. It's not good. It is a very slippery slope, bad precedent that's being set. Very long story short, we've talked about this on past shows, so I don't want to dive too deep into it, but essentially what's happening on the East Coast is they're hitting this wall of circular issues, and essentially red snapper populations are growing. Unfortunately, it takes time for science to catch up, and it takes even more time for management to catch up. And as red snapper populations grow and more people are on the water, you're seeing more red snapper caught and released. All of a sudden, your red snapper catch and release, your discard mortality is enough to where it's actually filling the quota. Then you fill the quota, exceed the quota, and then all of a sudden you have paybacks, and then you have a payback, and then you have another payback, and all of a sudden your quota keeps getting smaller. So you're catching and releasing red snapper, they're dying, and that small amount of fish that's dying is being counted against your quota, and you're overrunning your quota again, and then your quota keeps getting smaller, and you can see how you're in this circle of death. And that's what's been happening. Red snapper is exceedingly being overfished and experiencing overfishing on the East Coast because the quota is so small because of the federal law, MSA, Magnuson-Stevens Act, and the way it's set up and the way it governs recreational fisheries. It's a problem. It's a problem. And in the East Coast, they're experiencing that firsthand with red snapper. So essentially what happened is they're continuing to overfish red snapper, but there's so many red snapper, they're just kind of like, yeah, we'll still open a little bit of a season. Here's a 2-day season. They've been doing that every year, a little 1-day, 2-day seasons. And it's kind of like a slap in the face to people in the East Coast because there's all these red snapper and they only get 1 or 2 days to fish for them. But they continue to overrun the quota. So because they're overfishing their quota, some people got pissed and they sued. They sued National Marine Fisheries Service and said you have to end overfishing. The courts heard the case and ruled in favor of the people who were suing, the feds. So the Fed court said you have to end overfishing. You have to follow federal law. You have to end overfishing. The South Atlantic Fisheries Management Council is like, yeah, no, we're going to keep doing what we want to do, and they can't agree, and they can't pass any regulations to stop the overfishing. So overfishing has continued. So now the court's saying you have to end overfishing. Federal law is saying you have to end overfishing. The South Atlantic Council's not doing it. So now the feds started talking about a total closure of bottom fishing, like no fishing. Like, you can't go bottom fishing. And that's threatened 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We've talked about it on the show multiple times before. Now that threat that went away, and the state of Florida kind of pushed back on it, and they kind of pushed it to the back of the table as an option. Now it's at the front of the table again because of this lawsuit. And now the feds are kind of being forced. So if the council doesn't take immediate action to address the overfishing, most likely the feds are going to come in and just say, you're done fishing, and ban bottom fishing on the East Coast, at least for a large portion, which is scary and a dangerous precedent because we've talked earlier about Amendment 2, right? That's in state waters. So even if you pass yes on 2 and you have a state right in the state amendment in the state constitution, this is federal waters. We don't have the federal right to hunt and fish. It's not in the federal constitution. And even if you vote yes on 2, it won't be in the federal constitution. It'll be in our state constitution, which is state waters. So it's a little challenging, to say the least. So we need to do a yes on 2 in federal waters too, right? That would be difficult. It's already difficult enough at the state level. With Supreme Court's recent ruling overturning parts of the Chevron decision, do you think any party will file suit against the MSA? I would imagine there'd be suits filed, but they're still trying to discern what the heck this means. The Chevron decision was monumentous, but it definitely has larger impacts, and they really haven't figured out what those impacts are. Everybody's still grappling with the whole Chevron decision. Basically, what the Chevron decision was is if the federal government makes a law and then they get sued over it, they can't be the expert witness that gets called. And that's essentially what was happening is something happens and you sue the feds, the court would essentially side with the feds because they were considered the experts. So they, you know, the whole innocent until you're proven guilty thing, like I get accused of some heinous crime, and the state has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm guilty. Has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. You have to basically prove without any suspicion that I'm guilty, right? So essentially, the Chevron decision was you had to, if I was to sue the feds, I would have to make a case so good that without any suspicion, the feds are wrong and they should rule in my favor. Now, with the overturning of the Chevron decision, it could go either way. So it removes that federal protection. So it makes it a lot easier to sue the feds over things, which could be good and bad, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it all, beyond a reasonable doubt. That was the terminology, thank you, Billy, that I was looking for. So it's definitely going to make things interesting, but they still don't know how that's all going to happen. So long way away from an answer on that one. Josh is telling me I'm out of time. Do we have one more simple question? I don't want to end on Chevron.
No questions.
No questions? All right, fine. Fine, Josh.
I tried.
So don't forget, Fishing for Hope, November 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Don't forget the tattoo special. We haven't mentioned that in a while. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, you can go to our website here, hubbardsmarina.com, and click info, click Marina info, and click Hubbard's Marina Tattoos. It's going to tell you about the Hubbard's Marina Tattoo Special and how you can get free fishing trips in return for a Hubbard's Marina tattoo. So think about that. Also, what did we also want to talk about? Oh, I blanked on it. There was something else on the website I wanted to show you. Maybe it was under info. Oh, that's what it was. Fishing trips. Click fishing trips. Click fishing information, and then you can click the Regulars Club info. A lot of people have asked me about the Regulars Club as of late. So fishing trips, fishing trip information, hit Regulars Club info. It's going to give you all the information on our Regulars Club. We talk about our Supporters Club. The Supporters Club is $4.99 a month. Essentially works out to be $60 a year. You get access to our private supporters group, our private after show. You get some cool behind the scenes info, some connectivity, and we give away some free stuff. We have a Christmas party every year. It's cool. The Regulars Club is totally different. It is pricey to join. It's $400 to join our top level club, but it gives you 50% off our 5 and 10 hour trips all year long. It gives you 30% off the 12-hour night trip, the 39-hour, the 44-hour, and $50 off the extreme trip. So that's all year round, $400, the Regulars Club, top value. Now, there's also other clubs as well, so check it out. Again, Regulars Club info. It's under fishing trips, then click fishing trip information, or fishing trips. I lost it, Josh. The Regulars Club. Oh, there it is. Fishing trips, fishing trip information, then click Regulars Club info. Really, really good info in there. And it's a great way to save money and make fishing more affordable so you can go fishing more often. So if you're fishing 10, 15, 20 times a year, the Regulars Club makes sense for you. If you're only fishing 5 times a year, Regulars Club doesn't make as much sense for you. So you got to fish a lot because there's still a commitment involved there. So
Also mentioned that you get to book trips up to a week early.
yeah, you get to do a lot of different things. So check it out. The Regulars Club will open up for membership December 1st at 11 a.m. At the same time, you can start booking your 2025 fishing trips. David Pruitt brings up a good point. Why do you have the Stars comment pinned? The Stars will come back. They will. We are working tirelessly to try to figure out why the heck Facebook broke the Stars thing. June 28th was the last time that Facebook allowed us to get stars, and we are really close to hopefully getting that fixed. I'm praying it gets fixed this week, so we haven't changed anything in our account yet because we're still hoping that we're able to fix that. So bear with us. Stars will come back, and we do appreciate your guys continuing to ask about them because we hope that you will continue to send stars once we get them fixed. All right, so we're ready for our last giveaway of the night. This last giveaway of the night is brought to you by our friends over at Innovative Pools and Spa. Innovative Pools and Spa brings you 35 years of experience building pools in the Tampa Bay area, and they continue the legacy of their father's company, which was recognized as a top pool builder in the area for 35 years. They raise the bar in pool construction, design, and features, and they have an unparalleled passion for the industry. They're running a fall special right now, less than $50K, $49,995. So less than $50K, you can get a 14 by 28 foot freeform pool, 5 different design options, 72-foot perimeter, 350 square foot of decking, up to 5 foot deep, LED lights, automated pool equipment, all for less than $50K. So huge fall special from Innovative Pools and Spa. Plus, they wanted to let us know that they are doing repairs and cleanups. So if your pool got all messed up from Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton, they can come in, they can get it right, they can fix all your equipment. So check them out, Innovative Pools and Spa. You can call them today at 727-788-1650 or visit them online at innovativepoolsandspa.net. Also, big shout out to our friends over at Gator Gyms Tackle. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by and seen our friends over at Gator Gyms Tackle, make sure you do so and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. So check out Gator Gyms Tackle, check out Innovative Pools and Spa, and thanks to both of y'all for being partners with our Sunday night live stream show. Now, we've talked about everything we need to discuss tonight. It's time to find out who won our 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. Then we're going to launch into our supporters after show. 8:55 p.m. Start looking for it. Supporters after show. We hope to see you there. Let's find out who won that 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Christine. Congratulations, Christine. They just got their boat all dialed in for some near shore fishing. So now it's time to get offshore on a big boat and do some 39-hour fishing. Congratulations, Christine. Hopefully we'll see you guys out this week. Remember, live show, all one word, gets you 50% off 5 and 10-hour trips. We added a special 10-hour Friday. Tomorrow's half day is going to be a great bet. Super nice weather. Come out and see us Tuesday or Thursday for the all day. Got tons of trips this week. Dolphin tours, 3-hour shell key shelling trips. Come down and do our 3-hour shell key shelling trip from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hop on over to the Friendly Fisherman for lunch. Maybe do a 3 p.m. dolphin cruise and a sunset cruise while you're at it. And maybe spend the next day out fishing. You got half price all week, Monday through Friday. Take advantage of it. Come down and see John's Pass. Support our John's Pass businesses. We need you. We need your help. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your friends about this show. Hopefully we'll see you next week, and hopefully you guys all have a great night. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Hopefully we'll see you out in the water this week. Thanks for watching, y'all.